Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see here, and probably why you clicked on the link, I did just get a Biota yellow Tang. This guy is super tiny, captive bred, and I'll be adding him to my tank pretty shortly. Stay tuned. Alright, so I saw on Facebook that Leopard Reefer had some Biota yellow Tangs for sale. And I know these fish are really hard to get right now, and there's a huge ban on like Hawaiian fish. So I figured why not pass up on this opportunity and secured myself a little yellow Tang. So I went to go pick him up, and here he is, temperature acclimating to the tank. He was overall really healthy, and the reefer that I bought him from had him probably for like a week and a half, and he was eating really well. So I went ahead and got him. Drip acclimated him for a little bit. As you can see, he's really active inside the cup, kind of scared me. I picked him up here to show you guys how tiny he was, and even then he was able to escape my hand and jump right back into the water, acted like nothing happened, and yeah, he's just a strong little fella. So I went ahead and added him into the tank. I read that mini tangs are the least aggressive tangs, so I was hoping these two would play nice with each other. And when I first dropped them in, I couldn't find him. As you guys can see here in the camera, I was trying to track him down, but eventually I found him here on the left side. And even off the rip, he was super active, didn't go into hiding or anything, pretty much just fit right in. If you guys notice my hammers aren't looking too well, I'll explain that later in this video. But as you guys can see here, my two clowns are checking out the new tank mate, and they're kind of curious about him, just kind of swimming up saying hi. And he was off doing his own little thing, drifting around, checking out the new rock work. And eventually the other fish did find him, and I was really worried about my mini Tang at first, but initially he didn't show any aggression at all. This was the first encounter they had. They kind of just swam right next to each other. My mini Tang's looking like, what are you doing here? This is like my playground. So he kind of gave him that stare down. As you guys can see here, he didn't move, he was just staring him down. And he did posture kind of aggressively, so I wasn't too worried. And eventually he went off and did his own little thing. But I think it's because he's more like scared of me and the camera, so he didn't dive right in and start bullying the little guy. But eventually the yellow Tang did start getting a few nibbles at him, and yeah, it was a pretty rough first like hour or so. In the following clip here, you'll see the mini Tang land a few shots on the yellow Tang. I did make sure though that the yellow Tang wasn't getting his fins ripped or anything, and watching him the whole time to make sure there wasn't a lot of damage. And this little guy was a tank. He pretty much tanked the whole thing, and eventually everything settled down. But yeah, in the meantime, I did finally get my new Leopard Wrasse in, and I finally got one that survived. It doesn't look too good right now in the bag, but I think it's just a little confused swimming into the little corner. This was probably one of the most beautiful fish I've ever seen. This female, I think it's called a star Leopard Wrasse, just has such a nice coloration. And yeah, this is my last addition into my tank, and everything will be complete. Overall, I was just really happy that this one survived shipping. I did add a little container with sand in it, and I did try to drop her off where the container was kind of close where she would see the sand. But as you guys can see here, she kind of just comes out and just misses the little container of sand. So I wasn't sure if she wanted to dive right in. She wandered the tank for a little bit, but even at night she did not find a container, so I was a little bit worried. During the nighttime, I did catch her in the corner near the heater. So I did catch her with a net while the lights were off, and I did put her into this little container hoping that she would burrow. And I haven't seen her for a few days, so I'm assuming that she's in the sand. And at the time of editing this video, I think it's been about 3 days and she has not emerged yet. But I do see the top of the sand does look like something burrowed in it, so I'm confident that she's at least alive. Alright, now before all the Tang police and other guys come hating on me, as you guys can see here, the yellow Tang is doing perfectly fine. I did feed some frozen and he kind of spat it out, so I wasn't sure they were eating frozen really well. But overall, he has been nibbling at my rocks and stuff, so he does look happy and eats off of my clip actually. Alright, as for the bad news, this hammer you guys can see here, I did have to frag off these two heads and get rid of it. It was showing signs of brown jelly, and I already lost two of my other hammers from that. I lost my blue purple one and the gold one that was right next to it. So I didn't want to gamble on another loss, so I went ahead and tossed those heads away. As for my Oregon Tort and Miyagi, they look like they're doing okay back here. I do see some polyps coming out. My Royal Grandma has finally kind of settled down, and my other SPS I got last video seems like they're doing okay. They're not dying, and I do see some polyps, so I'm really glad that they're doing well. Quick update on the mushrooms, they're doing really well right here. I got a new frag right there. I haven't really mounted. My Zoa rock is doing okay. My AOI Zoa is kind of getting swarmed by some algae. Here's the yellow Tang. He's looking really happy. This was taken about probably 5 days after I added him into the tank. He's just kind of zooming around. I have no idea what he's doing. All my other hammers survived. Thank God they didn't get brown jelly. And here's that little baby hammer I got from the last video. It's kind of like transparent. I don't know if it will ever color up because the colony that he had in his tank was like around that color too. So yep, still coralline algae is growing in, and yellow Tang zoomed in like the flash. Show us what he's made of right there, nibbling some algae off. And yeah, overall everything is looking okay. Ganipora, these things have actually gotten more linked to them ever since I mounted them onto this rock. The algae is doing well, and my other chaos are starting to finally take off. The heads are getting fatter by the days, and it's growing little babies. Kind of hard to show you guys. Now on this side of the tank, I think this is where I get the least flow inside the tank. So a lot of like the ugly stuff grows over here. I do try to use like a little turkey baster and blast the sand and rocks, but it kind of just gets smothered over here. So I might have to try to find a way to add some flow over on this side. In other news, this SPS from my old tank is still growing. Its color is a little bit different, but glad to see that it's doing okay. And here's my yellow assessor. This is like his side of the tank, and the other side is the Royal Grandma. So I think that's what they kind of decided on. In terms of torches, my gold one is still recovering from the sting from the Aussie torch. So praying that the head will recover. Alright, note to reefers that are looking for like macroalgae, please do not get the sea lettuce one. This one grows like weeds, and they will grow everywhere on your power heads. I don't even know how I got introduced into my new tank because my old tank had like an infestation, and I thought I got rid of all of them before adding it to the new tank, but I guess not. Here's a random turf snail that needs a good cleaning, but if you guys stayed until the end, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully in the next video of my reef tank, I will be able to give you guys an update on the Leopard Wrasse, and yeah, I think the tank is finally settling in. I finally didn't have to scrape algae off the glass today, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.